Good evening. It is Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018. We are the Bitter Knitters. My name is Jacqueline. Arthur's here.
Yo.
And Ryan's here.
I just want you to know that being a man is a choice. Let me make myself very clear.
Okay.
It's a mentality that is a choice. I just want to point that out. Thank you.
Fuck's sakes.
You know, Ryan, sometimes I think you should run for president.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold it in.
Just to look, it is hot as hell here in Toronto today. The first real hot day of the year, and my fan is on, so don't complain to me if you hear noises because I don't give a shit.
That's
okay, I'm hot. Get used to it because it will sound like that for the rest of the summer.
It's actually almost 90 degrees in New York. This is kind of, as Jacqueline had stated, one of the hottest days in New York, or at least the East Coast, lately. It's intense. I have the AC on, so like she said, I don't give a fuck if you complain. It's a choice.
It's too hot. It's too hot when you're like, you know, a young man like Ryan and his choice, and old woman like myself. We need our coolness, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so couple of updates. Let's get into before we get into the story. We talked about, I don't know if Ryan was here, but Arthur was here. We talked about the dog that got put in the overhead bin on the United Airlines.
Yes.
The French bulldog named Coquito. Well, the autopsy has come back, and he did suffocate to death.
That's too bad.
So putting him in there directly led to his death. So
I mean, I still don't feel bad though. Like as horrible as I still don't feel bad. There's there's avenues to go down with traveling a pet. You didn't fucking go down those avenues, and you know.
If I'm not mistaken, I had a French bulldog. I will not go into the we will not go into the specifics of how I do not no longer have that French bulldog with me. Thank you very much. But I did my research because there was one time the person whom I was with and I was planning we were planning a trip, and I think it was like somewhere along the lines of like 28 airlines have banned French bulldogs from flying.
They're on no-fly lists.
Yeah, because they're brachycephalic and they have a hard time breathing as it is. English bulldogs, pugs, French bulldogs. I don't know what the others are.
All those little flat-faced dogs, probably like a Maltese or
boxers.
something.
Yeah, they breathe like this. They're like, that's how my dog breathes. I miss him very much, but I feel bad in the kind of sympathy context, but I don't feel bad because you probably shouldn't have been flying with this dog.
Not just that, she couldn't even. She had a child and a baby with her and her dog. Like, I don't want to blame the person. I'm sure she's devastated that her dog died. But if I got there with all three of those things and they said put your dog in the overhead carrier, I'd be like, you know what, peace out. I'm not going to make this flight.
Yeah.
So.
That's too bad. Poor puppy.
Yeah, it's sad, but you know, let us learn from this, okay?
Yeah. I mean, if only they would have stuffed that stupid bitch's fucking emotional therapy peacock up in the fucking overhead.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
They didn't even let that on the plane, thank God. They didn't even let that on the plane. Okay, so I don't want to say stupid bitch, but speaking of stupid bitches, we talked about Aaron Trawick, who was the CEO of that biohacking company, the one who injected himself with the herpes virus. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know why he did this, but he injected himself with herpes virus in his leg, and I guess he thought he was going to hack something biologically. Yeah. I have no clue. I don't understand it. But he was found dead in a sensory deprivation tank on Sunday. No evidence suggests foul play. We don't know why he died.
So he died of the herp.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, could it be worse that way? I have no idea. Maybe he was taking drugs in there while he was in that tank, right?
Probably. But the reason why he injected the herp was to showcase essentially nanobot technology. I know it's a weird step to take, like it really is, to give yourself a fucking a permanent disease to showcase your technology. But
start with something like HPV or something that can be cured just in case.
Or like Hep C. Hep C back when Hep C was like growing was when I say like the early 2000s, it wasn't incurable, and now it is curable. Some forms of it are curable. Let me say that. But this is just crazy. This is kind of extreme stuff that just kind of drives me nuts nowadays. It's like, so let's go inject ourselves with incurable diseases for fun to prove that technology can potentially help. Like, okay.
Yeah, I'll let them test it on like rats and pigs first. Sorry, I love animals, but not that much that I'm going to be a test subject.
Exactly.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's true. Like, I don't think I would be game for someone to be like, no, we're gonna give you herpes to prove that this shit works. Like, no, go fuck yourself. Like, we can start with something small, but I personally do appreciate the level of trust in what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because
you didn't have to have 100% trust,
and that's it, right? Because for me, it says more about just the feeling behind it, you know what I mean? Like that we trust it to the point where I'm going to infect myself with something. I do appreciate it. I think they're fucking stupid for doing it because it's something I wouldn't do, and if I wouldn't do it, then you're definitely dumb. You know what I mean? Like, but
don't say that.
Oh, it's the God's honest truth. Like, if you're doing something that I wouldn't do, you're pretty fucking stupid.
It's just what kind of, I hate to make things political when I don't have to, but let me just say this. Sometimes in life, we don't have to go to such extremes to prove a point. Sometimes we can just be like, look at how this can potentially work. Ever heard of a PowerPoint? I know this is such a weird little thing. This little invention called a PowerPoint that can show you stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? I think with these biohackers especially, they feel like whether it's big pharma or companies trying to keep the money, keep the patents, it's not moving fast enough. And so
he's dead.
No, but we don't know he died from that.
Yeah.
No foul
play. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's dead in general. The motherfucker's dead. How much can I trust him? He's dead.
And you also have to remember too that in the realm of biohacking that it is still highly illegal.
Yeah.
This isn't something that you're like legally allowed to do, which again is stupid as fuck that the government gets to say what I can and can't put in my body, but apparently we awarded them that fucking right.
Yeah.
But no, this stuff is still very illegal. So I think that's another reason why they do go to such extremes to kind of showcase what they're by.
Well, listen, biohackers, there are people who don't want you to test on animals. They're called PETA. I'm sure they would volunteer to be the test dummies in these situations since they love their animals so much. Go ahead, go take them.
Well, I mean, why don't they just let them test on the animals that PETA sends to the kill shelters? I mean, they're going to die anyway,
PETA
right?
Doesn't like to admit that, right?
Oh, I know they don't, but I'll still call them out at every fucking opportunity I get for it.
Let's briefly touch on this since we were talking about that. We're talking, I mentioned the profitability. A story did come out last week or the week before about how Goldman Sachs sent out a note to their clients, and this is the quote: "The potential to deliver one-shot cures is the most attractive aspect of gene therapy, genetically engineered cell therapy, and gene editing. However, such treatments offer a very different outlook with regard to recurring revenue versus chronic therapies."
Yay, because if you're sick, you're just a profit margin.
Yeah.
Sakes.
Not that I don't think any of us are surprised by that.
No, not at all.
Well, can I just... All right. There was this wonderful clip that I was watching in regards to a story we spoke about, I think a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, about the San Francisco killer, right? The Golden Gate Killer, was that what he was called?
Yeah, that's what he's called.
The Golden Gate, the Golden Gate, not Golden Gate, Golden Gate Killer. He was found through like one of these Ancestry.com, 23andMe, websites, the DNA thing.
GED match. Yeah.
One of those things that I fear with having my medical information out there as readily available as what these biohackers, I think, are trying to accomplish is, can it then be kind of switched, kind of like what Goldman Sachs has just said, and be like, oh, I don't want you because you are not preferred.
Well, this is we actually talked about this on the other show when you weren't here on Monday.
Well,
when I'm just saying you weren't here, so you missed this conversation. You obviously didn't listen. That's where the shade comes. Bitch didn't listen to that. But one of the things when I agreed to do Ancestry, right? So I've shared my genetic information to say who my relatives are. Ancestry essentially owns that DNA that they have, possession of right now. But they do say that they don't give it to insurance companies so that you can't be tested and then like therefore, you know, judged against if you have a pre-existing contract. I guess you're not supposed to give it to a job. So like say I wanted to become president, they wouldn't be able to say, oh no, Jacqueline has, you know, all kinds of bad genetic things, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, whatnot. So
yes, it's true, but that may be a Canadian situation. We don't know the situation in the United States. Again, we are both in not opposing countries, but in both different countries.
True, and there's different laws. That's true.
I just think that there needs to be more laws. You know, as much as some people don't like laws, as we were discussing before the show started, we need more laws to kind of protect federal laws. By the way, to protect us from, again, situations where, because we've all seen hacking happening, hello, Cambridge Analytica, all these things kind of happening in the past 5 years, where your information is kind of just put out there and it's used against you. Like, for example, is it okay if I tell a little bit of a private story right now?
Sure.
I recently reapplied for a life policy on myself. I can't believe I'm making this public. So I needed to do a telephone interview, and they did their whole little spiel or whatever. Towards the end of it, they did say, X company, oh, thank God I didn't mention the company, X company will hold this information but will not be distributed. Da, 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 da. I asked, well, you hold on to the information for what other purposes? Because, again, you can only hold on to this and use this against me for 2 years. After those 2 years are done, what happens to the information? Boop, line dead.
Huh.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, they
didn't even try to give you the runaround. They just hung up on you.
Exactly. That's why I didn't want to mention the company's name, because
Jesus.
I just kind of wanted to inform you guys too, though, sometimes, is where does this information, or where is it stored, and is it DNA and genetics is huge. Like, that is everything. That is literally the embodiment of who you are. Fuck your social security number. Bitch, this is you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we kind of have to be a little bit, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm against it, because I'm not, because, you know, the situation.
That's not for everybody. I know a lot of people who would never do it in a second, would never give up their DNA like that. And I understand why they wouldn't. But
I'd like more protections on it, because of situations where, you know, look,
but what they did, this is how ingenious those cops were, because we mentioned it. So they made a fake profile with that genetic sample. So, like, it would appear for, like, me, say that showed up for me. It'd be like, oh, you have an Uncle Joe. Oh, I never knew I had an Uncle Joe. And then they went and they looked around and they were able to link it through all those people who's related to Uncle Joe. And then boom, there's, you know.
Is that, I don't know.
It's legal. It's not illegal. Now, I'm sure his defense lawyer is going to really argue against that.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just say this? I hope, I'm really kind of gunning that Arthur goes on my side here. Can I just say that scares the living daylights out of me? Because what if the situation was just a little bit different? What if you were at the scene of the crime hours prior to it actually happening, and your DNA happened to have had been there? And
Ryan, this wasn't just one sample. We're talking about a guy who's been connected to over 12 murders.
I know,
he didn't accidentally be there an hour before each time.
No, that's not what I'm counting. I know. I'm just saying, though, we are opening a huge door. Right?
But that can already exist. You can already be busted through DNA, right?
That's very, very true. I mean, that's very true, but I feel like I can't believe I'm saying this, I feel like an 85-year-old woman when I say this, with power comes great responsibility, and I think we have to be responsible sometimes.
Old woman? You mean Uncle Ben? You're an old man.
we just have to be held responsible for stuff like that.
I agree? You're right. That's why people are afraid of things like stem cell research, right? Because they're afraid that we're going to be ripping babies from people's abdomens to heal. But people are afraid of science, right? The laws have to be careful with science. They're afraid to clone.
The thing is, I'm not afraid. Well, no, I just want to explain that my point is, there's a lot of ethics that kind of that becomes questionable to me at some point, because when are we going to then say that's not okay? We can't make certain things be okay just because. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, for me, the topic of ethics within this stuff is kind of null and void because we don't get to make those decisions. You know what I mean? The government has already decided what the fuck they can and can't do, and we don't have a say in it.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not too happy with this. In all honesty, and for me, it's more because, I mean, my genetics, like my DNA, is now mapped without me ever giving permission. Yeah, permission. Right? Like, I don't care that Jacqueline did the 23andMe or Ancestry, whatever it is. I think that's great, and I do appreciate what's coming from it. But at the same point in time, like, now my genetic code is there for the government.
Oh, it's even worse because your dad did it too, and he's got way more of your DNA than I do.
Exactly, right? No, and it's true. And to me, like, I do take issue with that because I never signed off on that. I would never sign off on the government fucking having my fingerprints or anything, and especially when it comes to fucking my genetic fucking code. You know what I mean? But what can I do about it? Nothing.
Just use that example I gave you guys about the life insurance policy that I had applied for. This was literally yesterday when I asked that question, and because I knew how the law worked in terms of that, literally probably skeeved the crap out of the person whom I was speaking to on the phone.
You know what? I just had a thought. Now, Arthur's father's on Ancestry. His DNA is out there.
Yep.
Now, Ancestry is different than 23andMe. Ancestry doesn't break down your diseases like 23, like your propensity for disease, like 23andMe does. But say that's the reverse. Say I did 23andMe and so did Arthur's father. And then now Arthur goes to apply for insurance.
Yeah.
And somehow they're able to get a hold of that and say, oh, well, on both sides, mother and father's side, there's a propensity for Parkinson.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
No, it's an issue, and it's something that we do have to be wary of because it's fair. I mean, we've known, I mean, through this whole NSA thing since the Freedom of Information Act, we know that we're being monitored, and we know that our information is being stored by the government. We know this is a fact. This isn't fucking conspiracy. This is true. Now, to have a database of people's fucking genetics, like they do with fingerprints, like they do with mugshots and shit like that, to me, it's scary. It's getting more to the realm of Orwellian Big Brother than I personally would like to fucking get close to.
I agree.
It's funny to me because you say that, right? But you also said a couple weeks ago how you'd be one of the first people to get a chip so you could pay and bank. And
but that's different, though. That was.
But that to me, they can still monitor every little thing you're doing.
But what I said was I would be willing. This has now removed the choice from my hands. Like, my genetic mapping is out there, not due to my own behest. I didn't say it was okay. I didn't say it was okay for my father to put my genetic fucking code out there, but he did. You know what I mean? Well, but still, though, there's still enough of my genetic information that they can fucking pinpoint me for something that I did.
They could find you.
I never agreed to that. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a breach of my fucking trust, and that's a breach of my privacy.
Take them to court.
I just want you guys to be aware, though, and I kind of want to put out this waiver. None of us are against technology. None of us are against the bettering of none of us are against the bettering of anything. I'm actually a technology freak. I love the new stuff that comes out. But there is a limit. Again, I go by this whole thing, and I cannot believe I'm having this conversation. Not that I'm frustrated talking to you guys about it. I love talking to you guys about it. But I can't believe I'm having this conversation of limitations. When do you get to say that is too much?
Too much. We don't. We're only citizens. We're not policymakers, and we don't have the money.
But even those motherfuckers don't do shit. Oh, sorry.
Because again, there's other fucking people out there with the money that have the power to get it done. We unfortunately aren't a part of that fucking group, so we don't get a say in that type of shit. We're just kind of forced along.
I get to say, thank God some of those freaking senators and congressmen don't understand the way technology functions, because my God, holy fucking cow, what are we... listen, it's not that I have a lot of things to hide. I've never been a part of a murder. I've never been a part of a crime. But there are certain things that I hold very private, not just because I'm a private person or you consider me a hermit, but because there are certain family secrets that I believe to be family secrets, and they're just not meant to be public consumption. You don't know that if ever so God later on in life you become famous or whatever, something is used against you, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, for me personally, unless you are completely on board and kind of sign it off, I'm not for the government harvesting any of our information and keeping any of our information in databases. Now, with social security numbers and shit like that, that is what it is. That's something we need. We do all sign on to it. You know what I mean? But that to me is the part of this that becomes a little scary. Is when you do start thinking of it in the Orwellian Big Brother sense, where we literally can, or like Minority Report or what have you. You know, there's ways that the harvesting of that information can be very, very, very detrimental to people. And of course, I'm not going to stand for that. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in public safety, and even public safety from our governments, you know, and that one allows them too much freedom to essentially fucking, you know, do some really bad fucking
stuff. So you
stuff.
need to send a letter to your member of parliament, your leader of the each political group, and ask them that question. What is your government going to do to protect my DNA rights?
Well, let's see. If I send it to the Liberals, then Wynn's just going to fucking sell it at a detriment to the province. If I send it to the Conservatives, Doug Ford is just going to try to use it as a foundation for a monorail.
A monorail to nowhere.
Think about it this way, and for the Americans, actually, the American counterparts to your Senate and to your Congress leaders in your districts and your state. But I will say though, I don't know how anybody could be okay with something like this. And it's not because, and trust me, I am very happy that this man who had gotten away with murder almost, what was it? I think it was 40 years. 40 years was caught, but my God, this is kind of the fear. This is something that we were reading when we were in the 90s as children, Arthur, that now is becoming literal.
Oh yeah, science fiction's become real life. Like, this does have an air of the whole Minority Report kind of thing to it. Now, I mean, again, it's true. Like, whatever tools we really need to capture murderers and rapists, I mean, how can I not get behind that? Yeah. Like, literally, like, because I'd be a fucking monster if I was sitting here going, no, they should be fucking freed because, you know, they used some backroom fucking shit. No, that's bullshit. They did what they had to do to fucking catch a guy who's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
I can't complain about that. Excuse me.
Yeah.
My issue, again, becomes when we're talking about harvesting our data and holding them in databases and stuff like that. Any information that's held without our knowledge, to me, is just a huge breach of our trust. It's, you know, if we don't trust our government, then what happens? We revolt.
Well, even it's not the government that I don't trust. This is actually weird. It's not the government that I don't trust. It's the companies that I do not trust.
Private business,
Because when you think about what happened in the whole Facebook Cambridge Analytica situation, not to get political here, because Obama did the same exact thing, people. That's a fact, whether you want to believe it or not. Obama did the same exact thing, and it was called genius when he did it. So let's be fair with Trump. But imagine when Jacqueline took a BuzzFeed quiz, that information was used on her for a weird little thing. That's fucking scary. But now we're taking DNA. They're taking the very embodiment of who you are and storing it somewhere where I'm not sure if it's safe.
Yeah. Well, even that, even to like a lesser extent, but one that I think is more plausible is think of the targeted advertising you're going to get if our DNA, if our genetic profile is, you know, kept in a database. Now you're going to get fucking, you know, emails or ads on your computer saying, you know, oh, well, you don't like your blue eyes? Here, fucking these contacts make them brown. Or, you know, you're predisposed to fucking, like Jack keeps saying, Parkinson's. Oh, well, we got, you know what I mean? And as much as that might be a help, I mean, I'm already getting annoyed fucking thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. Stop fucking reading into
I do know that Ancestry says, now I don't know if this is, I can't remember if this is how long they keep the samples, but they keep your results online. They're saying for 25 years.
Jesus.
25 years is long. Look at the 2-year thing that I was just talking about with the life policy. Okay, so let me explain a little bit the life policy. At least I can speak for the state of New York. Misrepresentation on an application is questionable for up to 2 years, right? After those 2 years, even if you said that you were not a smoker, although you did smoke on that application, after the 2-year period is done, they cannot rescind or not pay out on your life application. That's 2 years. Imagine 25 fucking years.
Yeah, really.
Of shit being used.
Sorry, by the time 25 years comes, they'll have literally every person's DNA on them.
Yeah, but that's why sometimes as individuals we just have to learn how to voice out. I'm not against anything, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry to prolong this conversation, but it is, to me, a conversation that's meant to be had, because how are we going to fix what I feel like are problems? And this is just my opinion. What I feel like are problems if we do not actually question the new stuff coming along, the new technologies. This is what happened during our great-grandparents' time, our parents' time even. Now it's our duty as these individuals who are living through it and actually experiencing it, to actually say, how are we going to better protect us so that the next generation doesn't have to deal with that kind of shit?
The issue is you got to get young people into that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's harder to get the younger generation into that mindset because to them in their lives, technology just keeps advancing and advancing and advancing. It's the norm. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like to think of, you know, anything like, you know, this new touchscreen or fucking, you know, finally having holographic screens to these young kids, that's not going to be meaningless to them.
That's just cool,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. They're just like, all right, that's another progress. They're not going to be thinking of it in the terms that we are, being, you know, just a little bit older, because again, we've seen technology be used that we thought was really cool to our detriment, right?
Yeah.
So I think, and I do believe that this whole Facebook thing has really opened people's eyes to that, of the real potential of, I mean, just not even the potential, but just the fact that your information isn't safe.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So
they're being bought out, and you don't even know that your information is being bought by other companies and used.
Yeah.
That is the sick part.
Well, and then we always laugh at these people who are on Facebook with like fake names. Like we have a friend we know, Ryan and I both know. She does not use her real name on Facebook. And you know, everybody, I won't say everybody laughs, but I'm sure there's some people who are like, oh, why don't you use your real name? Well, maybe she's the smartest of us all, right?
My thing is with that, like, if you're that scared that you want to hide behind an avatar and stuff like that, that's fine. That's cool. Don't express any of your opinions online.
That's true.
As far as I'm concerned, if you can't put your name and your face behind statements you're making, then just shut your fucking mouth.
She just shares pictures of cats and
that's fine.
And
I got
knitting,
no beef with that.
which is good.
I can only speak for myself. It's not because I'm hiding anything or whatever the case is. The reason why my name has not been changed on Facebook, you guys both know why. And that's a personal reason. And then there's another aspect of that that's even more personal, that, you know what I mean? I'm not hiding anything. I'm just a very private person in general as an individual. I don't discuss my salary. I don't discuss.
But that's your name. You use your name. You're not using an alias.
Exactly. Well, it was my name. If that's an inclination as to why, was my name. I just don't think everything needs to be public. Like this is my point. And we were having this discussion again at work today, and I specifically said some things, and it's not bourgeois society coming out of Ryan again, kind of just spurting things out. There are just certain things that I feel like are not public consumption, and you need to have a filter, both physically and socially, social media-ly, I guess, so you can better protect yourself against these things that can be used against you.
And I mean, again, and that's kind of my point with the sharing your opinions, but hiding. You know what I mean? Because if you have an abhorrent opinion, and one that especially can be used against you, then fucking, you know, put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Like literally put up or fucking shut up. I'm tired of seeing people with real hatred in their fucking hearts spewing their nonsense, but hiding. If you think it, own it. Right? Just own it. I know that I've said some stuff on this show that aren't the coolest things. You know what I mean? Where I might have said not stuff that comes from hate, but you know what I mean? Where I am just arguing the other side of the coin. Yeah. And I understand how that can be construed as me being a hateful individual, but whatever. I've not once hid my name or hid my face.
No.
Like every time I talk, I can see my fucking ugly mug. You know what I mean? Like I'm not shook by it, and I wish most people would kind of get that. It just bothers me.
Okay, let's go on to our next. We were only doing an update. That was half the show.
Yeah.
That's okay. It was good. So quickly, let's talk about Andrew Pollock. This is a father of Meadow Pollock, who was one of the 17 teenagers shot at the Douglas. I can't stand this name. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. They're suing Scott Peterson, the former sheriff's deputy. This is the guy the resource officer who was there and hid behind a wall and never entered the school and attempted to save any children. So he's suing him. We'll see what happens.
So here's my thing. So I know here in Ontario, at least, that the resource officers are legitimate police officers.
Yeah.
Was this guy hired by the school, or was he an actual cop?
I think he was hired by the school, but he was a sheriff's deputy too.
All right, because I mean, I'm conflicted by that.
He's not just a security guard; he's a real cop.
Well, see, this is what's weird. It varies from state to state, and this rhetoric kind of has to be a little bit explained. In the state of New York, or at least in New York City, when you see those police officers in schools, like, you know, I don't know what they're called, liaisons, I guess. They're actual cops from the NYPD.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not hired separately or whatever. Yeah. There might be a little bit more screening because you are going to be in a school environment, but they are NYPD. They are on the payroll of NYPD, as far as I am aware. This is my understanding. So my whole thing is with the whole Parkland situation is, if you, no matter what, who was paying your payroll, if you did not perform your job,
yes,
then I think this opens up a lawsuit against you.
Yeah. But here's my thing with it, and this is where I became conflicted with it. Now, yes, he is the school resource officer and he has a firearm. So you can say that his job is to get into a firefight. Yes. But I still can't see a reason as to why we get to say, no, man, you have to put your life on the line, regardless of you feeling comfortable about it at all. You know what I mean? My
understanding of this is, when you become a police officer. Now, again, I'm not saying he's a police officer. I do not know the facts.
He worked. I just read this. He was working for the sheriff's department when this happened. He resigned immediately. He was suspended, and then he immediately resigned and retired.
After the fact. Is it after the fact or before the fact?
February 23rd. Right
but if he was a cop and he was working for a police station, then he done fucked up.
Yeah. You took an oath, and it, again, not to be funny, it's kind of like insurance. Whether you were getting dropped tomorrow, yet you had an accident today, that must be covered because you were insured at the time. So my situation with this is, you were performing a job, or you were supposed to perform a job, but you did not do it to your full potential, and you took an oath. From my understanding, all cops take an oath to protect the public, because it's not that you're above the law, but you are the law.
Like, nobody said he had to run right down the hall and, you know, tackle the gunman, but I mean, maybe from around the corner try to shoot him, like
some returning fire.
Also named in the lawsuit, I just want to say, the 19-year-old suspect, the estate of his mother, who died in November, the couple that took him in after his mother died, and also names 3 behavioral and mental health facilities that evaluated Cruz before the shooting.
No, sorry about your luck, but no, I don't agree with that at all.
I don't think this is a money grab. I think this is a policy change sort of thing.
I agree.
No, I this is monetary bullshit. This is them trying to fucking get money. That's all I hear about that. That's all I fucking think. I know. I'm sorry. I get really mad hearing about this kind of stuff, and I truly do. I understand you went through a tragedy. You lost a kid. That sucks. You know, I wouldn't wish that on my worst fucking enemy, and I really wouldn't. But to go after money to sue fucking anybody within fucking reach, like the fucking psychologist or the therapist or whatever, you're gonna fucking sue them? Go fuck yourself. So what? Should the fucking families of Jeffrey Dahmer's murderers fucking sue his grade 1 teacher because she didn't fucking realize that he was gonna be a fucking cannibal? Suck my fucking dick.
He says, Scott Peterson is my main target. He could have stopped it. He could have saved my kid.
Yeah, I get that.
But he is naming these other people. No, maybe lawyers told him he has to. You don't know.
Of course they did, because they probably know that this guy can't afford their fucking retainer. So you better sue a shit ton of them so you can fucking pay us.
Well, but part of that too, though, is like, when we just openly sue everybody, that's like, we're kind of going a little too far on certain things. Now, should we kind of, I think if anything, you should be suing the fucking, what was it, the FBI or some he was on a list. Like they had a thing about this guy, and we didn't, again, that's part of that, I think, to me, honestly, just saying we weren't performing our jobs completely.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why they're going to name them, because the family were like, well, you know, we let him have the guns because he seemed happy with them and stuff like that. So
what?
Like, and even that, sue your fucking constitution because it's the one that says you're allowed to have guns. So, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, if we're just gonna be fucking suing people all willy fucking nilly, you know what I mean? Like, let's fucking.
That's who I would sue first. Honestly, I'd sue the government that let them get a hold of that gun legally.
But my thing is, like, none of us here. Okay, I think this is another disclaimer. None of us on this show are anti-gun, believe it or not.
Nope.
But the shocking part is, for me, I think. Again, going back to the whole Constitution thing, it does need updated because
yes, it does.
When that was written, guns took, I think, what was it, like about up to 2 minutes to reload. We're talking a gun that's firing fucking 60 rounds.
90 rounds in a minute.
In a minute.
But even that's a bit of a misnomer as well, because there were rapid fire and repeating fire guns. Even when the Constitution was written, they just weren't widely available, right?
Yeah, most people had a musket.
But
I did have to,
word
like,
that you said,
even like because I even argued that point, and even I had to, or just kind of give up that foothold because I was wrong, and if I'm wrong, I got no issues admitting it. But it's so weird to me. So what next? Are they going to sue fucking Armorlight for fucking building the gun in the first place? I have a problem with that. Now here's the thing. Now I understood with Ron Goldman. Right? I understood why his family took that case to civil court because it was the only place they were going to get any type of fucking justice for their kid. Now, I have been informed the last time I brought this up that they never even received a penny for it, which is fucking disgusting. Yeah. But that's a different topic, right? It bothers me, and it's always bothered me.
Yes. The trial hasn't even ended, right? You're right.
The kid is facing justice, and that to me is enough. Like, literally, and I'm not saying it's enough to bring your kid back or to do away with the pain that you're feeling. I can't even begin to fucking empathize what you're feeling. I truly can't. But to seriously try to gain monetarily through something like this, to me, you're cheapening your own fucking side. You know what I mean? Because now I look at you as someone who's just in it for the money. You're not even hurting. You just want, you want your beach house. You want the fucking Lamborghini. Because again, and I'm a misanthrope and I hate people and I distrust them from the fucking get-go. So I mean, that's probably where my opinion's coming from. Like, seriously, and it's the truth. Like, I distrust like everybody. I don't really believe people's they have the best intentions and shit like that. Like, I normally do. Just
you're gonna hate the next story.
Yeah, probably.
It's so there's been a settlement already with the 2 black men that were kicked out of the Starbucks in Philadelphia. With the city. They settled for $1 each. Yeah. But they did come to an agreement. They asked that the city set up a $200,000 program for young entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay. I thought you were going to hate it since you were so mad at the whole racist.
See, but now again, I still won't, until it's proven without a reasonable doubt, I won't call that incident an act of racism. That's just me. I don't care about anyone's opinion. That's just how I look at it. Yeah. But no, how can you not respect that? That is such a fucking mature.
Well, they at least didn't go for the money grab, right?
Exactly. Like, that's such a mature and level-headed response to something that, I mean, was really disgusting. Again,
and they're going to help out some young people in the city. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. That's fucking amazing. That's true community activism right there. That's 2 people turning, what they could have used to get their 5 minutes of fucking fame, but rather than that, they decided to turn around and try to benefit their fucking community. You got to respect that.
But that is what you call Kanye West. That's what you call a choice. A choice.
Oh my God, that guy needs his meds. So that's what's wrong with Kanye.
I don't even want to scrape the surface of that one.
I know. Let's go into another one. I know this will rile Arthur up because this is, So we're going to talk about, it's prom season. Kezia Dom, I don't know her name. She went to prom. She got a dress at a secondhand thrift store. Beautiful dress. Beautiful dress. It happens to be I don't want to say this wrong. No, they weren't calling it that. They called it what's the word? Okatapi? Anyway, it's a Chinese traditional style dress. It's got, the mandarin collar and the slits on the side, and it was red silk, and it was beautiful. She posted some pictures. Somebody saw the pictures, and he was very upset. His name is, I want to say Jason Lamb.
Of course it is. The whitest fucking name you could name.
Lamb, not Lamb.
Lamb, Lam. My culture is not your prom dress.
That's sucking.
Now he's Asian American. I don't know if I guess I would assume Chinese American, but shouldn't assume that. He says he's proud of his culture for it to be simply subject to American consumerism and cater to a white audience is parallel to colonial ideology.
Dress. What if somebody found the fucking dress beautiful? Okay, first of all, a lot of people, they call a suit an Americana. In the Philippines, that's what it's called. Do you think that's cultural misappropriation if they do that?
No, because it's against white people.
Is that what you called it, Ryan? A kipao?
Shongsam. That's what it's.
Oh yeah.
That's as far as I'm aware. That's what it's called because I saw this. It's a blue dress, right?
No, it's the red dress. It's red.
The fact of the matter is, any fucking case like this, there's one thing to remember. If you're white, you are always in the wrong. If you are anything other than white, do what you fucking gotta do. No one cares. But white people can't enjoy a different fucking culture. We're just not allowed. We're not allowed. We're not allowed to show it.
Hysterical about this. So this Asian American and many people in also in America were very offended. But when they asked people in China,
they love it.
They were not.
They were happy. They were glad that their clothes were being promoted, and these are not really like a cultural dress to them. These are just like dresses. This is like wearing a sundress basically. Unless you're, they said, this is the quote, unless you're a waitress or a bride, nobody wears them.
Here's my thing, and I hope I don't offend you, Ryan, but
not at all.
I don't give a fuck where you're from. Are you an American? Suck a fucking dick. You don't have any right to say I'm Asian American. Shut your fucking mouth. You're a goddamn American. Stop putting these stupid fucking racial lines
especially for him to say my culture, but the people who are actually from China are not offended.
Of course not.
Well, but it's shocking because, Quentin Tarantino, I don't remember what award show it was, wore a traditional Filipino garb. It's called a barong Tagalog. It's kind of a little bit see-through. It's typically or traditionally it's made from pineapple leaves. It's really itchy, but it's a beautiful garment. I have one when I have to go to like affairs that's formal. Somebody wearing that, I remember my ex had worn that. I thought it was beautiful when he did.
Yep.
I didn't think it was offensive at all. I just don't understand how we are in the mentality nowadays of not wanting to spread our culture. Like all of a sudden it's your culture. You're now the representative of fucking China. What the fuck?
Yeah. I understand. I know what I've really kind of taken into cultural appropriation, try to learn what it is, why people get angry by it. So it's either you take something and claim it as your own, which she did not do, or you are allowed to wear something that somebody of the culture that you're, quote, appropriating would not be allowed to wear. Well, nobody stops people, even in America, from wearing that kind of dress if you're Chinese or Asian. My only little bit would be at the point where her and all her friends kind of did the traditional Asian bow with their hands. Maybe a little iffy, but I'm not going to say that's racist.
Whatever.
Just a little poor taste.
But it's cute. But the thing is, it's cute. I mean, if I find something cute, like for example, if I wear all black, which I typically do because I am from New York after all, am I trying to be goth? Or am I misrepresenting the goth community if I do that?
Well, no, because you're a visible minority. You can't do no wrong. This is the fucking, I mean, again, this is exactly what I went off about on Monday's show. This is what you get when you allow people safe spaces where no one challenges their fucking ideas. This is the type of bullshit and the level of fucking thinking that you get when people are just allowed to, exactly.
And that's why we need normal, rational people who aren't babies that are in their cry closets, like Ryan, that need to come out and say, no, it's not cultural appropriation. It's, you can still...
Here's the thing. I'll tell you exactly the arguments that we made against Ryan. You are whitewashed. You are living the white dream. You're not embracing your culture. You are the Uncle Tom of fucking Asian people because you see the world for what it really is, what we're supposed to fucking say. Now, here's my big beef with these people that fucking cry cultural appropriation. Most of them believe in no borders. Most of them believe in there's no such thing as an illegal human being. Okay, so you're telling me that I gotta just accept everyone and everything that comes with them for who they are. Okay, I can live with that idea. But you're telling me that I can't share their culture? I can't share in their culture. I have to draw lines.
If you go to Chinatown and eat some traditional Chinese food, are you appropriating?
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck out of here.
What about
but everybody who goes to an Indian wedding, what do they wear? They wear sari.
Right?
But what about all the times that you have said that Chinese food is the crap that we order? Chicken wings is not Chinese food. That's not traditional Chinese food.
Yeah.
How dare you people consider that to be that? How dare the Chinese? Oh my God, this is super controversial. I don't care. I'm going to go there today. I'm on a fucking roll. How dare the Chinese fucking call that Chinese food and cater that to the Americans
They made that
who they're profiting from?
Because the Americans didn't want to eat the traditional Chinese food. It was too weird. So they made something that was...
But then the question is, whose fault is it that they allowed to be bowed down to this? That's their fault. You allowed
they had to make a business. I give credit to the people that started the Chinese restaurants because you know what?
Of course.
Came to a country that was hostile against you, didn't want you, and you created a huge business that,
No, my point is, it's just, if we're going to be offended by every little fucking thing, oh my God, we would not be living in a world. We all need to be pod people at this fucking point. Yeah. That's going to be the fucking case.
That's where people want to go.
Crazy crap. Like,
live in your cry closet 24/7.
Can I travel to a place like India, who had zero hand in building the automobile, and talk mad shit to them about appropriating American culture? Because let's face it, the Americans invented the fucking automobile. So do I have that right? Yeah. Do I get to go to Japan and land-base all of them for loving the sport of baseball, which was invented in Canada by white people? Are you appropriating my fucking culture? No, of course not. You know why? Because it's white people. This is my whole thing. This is sneaky fucking racism. This is the racism that we're allowing to fucking breed. I'm so tired of this shit.
I got one more little point about Jeremy, because you talked about racism. When people searched on Jeremy's Twitter, he used the N-word.
Of course he did. Of course.
He deleted that sense.
Yeah,
because that's not the person he is anymore. He was younger then.
Yeah, fuck you.
She's not allowed to get a pass.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to get a pass for wearing a traditional dress that she wore in homage and loved and wasn't mocking. Yes. She wore it to her prom. She's going to look at these pictures for the rest of her life and be, I felt beautiful that night.
Yes. How dare we
But he can get a pass for using actual hate words.
You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm buying a kimono. I'm growing dreadlocks. I'm becoming a Ross. I'm appropriating everyone's fucking culture. Meet me in the fucking streets, pussies. Fuck all of you.
But it's kind of crazy because there have been times for me, for example, like where, and it's happened before. I do have, contrary to belief, Asian friends, as little Asian friends as I do have, not because by choice, it just is. Where I was once called, I think I told you guys this story, a banana. I'm like, what is a banana? And they're like, oh, you're yellow on the outside, white on the inside. I'm like, I still to this day don't understand what the fuck a banana is.
I've heard people say Oreo to people of mixed race. Too white.
Because a lot of people tell me,
you're too white, you don't talk black, right?
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of people tell me, oh, it's because you don't really speak your language. I'm sorry that I don't have a fluency in it, or that I don't really eat traditional foods. I'm sorry that I have a preference for other kinds of foods as well.
Are you kidding me? Pizza's the tits. Like, you can't be eating rice and shit all the time. Pizza's fucking great. What the fuck is wrong with you? And even, like, see, now that, to me, is racist. You can't imply that shit. That is pure
coming, by the way,
racism.
from my Asian friends. And it's very, very weird to live in a time that, again, this brings me back to the conversation we were having off the air, which I won't bring here, where it's just extreme thinking each and every time. Like, can't Ryan or this girl who wore this dress beautifully just do things the way they see fit for their lives? I'm sorry. I mean, granted, I'm not trying to commit a murder here, but I'm just saying, like, I don't try to politicize every single move that I make. Just because I decided that I was going to wear a very colorful clothing does not mean I'm gay. It's not always about a movement for me. That's not how I live my life. You're going to know if I'm making a movement. Trust and believe. I'm very vocal about my stuff.
But the issue comes is the people that are the ones doing all the bitching. Everything's a movement. Everything is a matter of social injustice.
But they're the first ones to never. They're the first ones to never actually do shit. And this is one thing I had said personally to a person, to somebody who I thought was a great individual. You're the first one to not actually do shit. So you sit here and, to Jeffrey, because this applies to you, you sit here and you complain and you moan and blah, 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 but you're probably the first motherfucker to not fucking vote.
Oh, exactly.
You're the first motherfucker to know that up until 1953, Asian Americans were not actually allowed to have citizenship in the United States of America. And most Japanese people were put into fucking internment camps. You're probably the first motherfucker to not know that our railways were built on the backs of your fucking ancestor.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure he likes to tote that one around when he's feeling, the white man oppressing him. And exactly. Like, I mean, again, all this stuff, and I mean, I went off hard about it on Monday, all stems from people and their safe spaces. Yeah. We've allowed too much leeway for people to get into fucking segregated groups and preach hate. Now, the issue is that because it's against white people or the status quo, nobody realizes that it's hate. But all of it is coming from hatred. None of this is due to equality. No one gives a shit about true equality. Like, literally, no one fucking does. It's all about hating the status quo, hating the people that have, historically had the power. Now, again, you can hate me all you fucking want because some dickhead 500 years ago was a king somewhere. I don't give a fuck. That makes you a fucking invalid. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't fucking change my life. Like, you want to be a little bitch and fucking cry about fucking past shit, then go cry. Go fucking cry. I'm sure there's a school with a room for you to fucking do that, pussy.
Yeah, University of Utah.
You know, I just can't deal with it. I can't. And
it's true though, Arthur. I mean, and I don't want you to think that the minority, because I am. No. Let's be frank, and I know I joke around all the time that I'm white. I'm not. I am the only minority on this panel of 3 that we have. Excuse me, Jacqueline, calm down. I really am the only minority, as far as we're aware, the only minority.
Woman of color, check ancestry.
But I've never been offended by anything Arthur has said. Have I sometimes disagreed with him? Absolutely, of course.
We're humans. We're always going to disagree.
But I have never been offended by anything Arthur has said. Half the time, he makes great sense. And I think if we, as people, just opened up our fucking heads and realized that not everything is an attack or a movement or a blah, blah, blah or something, you would probably live a better life. Because trust me, when I tell you that the people in the Philippines, when they watch Manny Pacquiao fight on the boxing ring, are so proud that finally somebody or something has made it somewhere. When these Arab princesses or the rich ones in the Middle East are wearing Michael Cinco's gowns that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're proud of their people being represented finally. You, the ones with the privilege, because this is about privilege, the ones that choose to ignore, the ones that never had to live through any kind of hardship, are the ones that get to say, I'm offended, I'm hurt, I'm feeling, disavowed from the society. That's you.
We need to take back millennials, Generation X, Generation Y, millennials, and just turn it to the offended generation.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a part of that generation, by the way. I'm sorry.
Me either. But there's a lot of people, and it's not just millennials. It's a whole wide range of,
I'm a millennial, and you can't say anything to offend me. For one, in order for you to offend me, that means I first got to respect what you say. Yeah. Not a lot of these people that are chirping do I have the slightest iota of fucking respect for. So you can't say shit that'll ever offend me. Flat out. Now, the other thing to me, though, is if you ever notice with these fucking people, these people that are constantly crying a foul, do you ever notice that they're attacking a person? Never the idea, never the thing that they're claiming to actually care about. They're attacking an individual. And why do you think that is? It's because they feel like they're fucking part of the resistance. Well, you ain't resisting shit. All you're doing is fucking bullying a fucking person. That's all you're doing. You want to change shit? I mean, then make a fucking fruity sign and get out there on the street. Maybe the news will fucking see you. Like, I don't know. I'm tired of it. And again, I'm buying a kimono. I'm growing dreadlocks. I'm appropriating. I'm going to go through the old school Chinese food.
Get a dashiki.
Straight the fuck up. I'm doing everything.
Make sure you get your moccasins.
Yeah, and I'm just going to march.
I love moccasins.
I'm just going to march up and down fucking Front Street yelling at everybody. Like, fight me.
Oh, you'll be one of those.
But see, here's the thing. Am I like being misrepresented, or am I misrepresenting the French culture when I say I love wearing Chanel stuff? Am I misrepresenting women when I put on makeup on a woman? Because I'm not a woman, am I not allowed to apply that on a woman and make her feel beautiful, hopefully on her wedding day or her prom or something? Book me. But it's like, when do we get to stop? I love what you said, because you are attacking a person. You're not attacking a mindset. You're attacking a person.
When you attack the people, you only get more support for the idea.
What they end up doing when people speak out about stuff like this is you get a guy like me who just likes to talk shit, angry to the point where we go out and do stupid stuff. when the election was going on, the American election was going on, there was this meme going around that milk was a sign of white supremacy. Now this was just a 4chan troll, but a bunch of people who had some kind of public opinion, right? Who, you know, had a bit of a following, ran with it. So what did assholes like me do? They went out and found Shia LaBeouf's live cam and chugged fucking milk through it. You know what I mean? And that was like a straight act of defiance. Now that one, again, it's a small one and it's not really fucking meaningful. But when you start, even the case of that one girl that accosted that hippie for rocking fucking dreadlocks. Yeah. Now you know how many white guys I see, asshole fucking conservatives rocking dreadlocks? Because again, what are you gonna do? Fight me? You know what I mean? These people are fucking their own causes because you're attacking human beings. You're not attacking the fucking system that you're apparently so fucking appalled by.
But this is the part of being integrated into a country or into a culture, as America is kind of a melting pot of everything, is sharing those things that you have and bringing that onto the table. Rather, this is the number one thing when it comes to Thanksgiving. Supposedly, they had a very nice dinner and they both shared, you know, these traditional meals with each other. So why is it that we're now so against somebody wearing a garb that we hold traditional, supposedly, out there? Like that to me just racks my brain each and every time. I was reading the story earlier, that's why. And I was just shocked because this isn't a conversation. I can't believe we spent God knows how many minutes discussing Jeffrey Lamb and his idiocy, and validating him when we need to validate this girl who actually probably looked she did look great in her dress. That's all that there is. You look nice in something, you wear it, and I'm not making fun of goths when I wear all black. I just don't want to wear any color.
Like, I'm willing to bet that Mr. Lamb is a fan of hip hop. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say he's probably a fan of hip hop. Now remember, buddy, them same people you're pandering to right now think you're culturally appropriating their fucking shit because you listen to their music. You're not on the fucking right side that you think.
Look what happened to Bruno Mars, a Filipino artist who was told he was culturally appropriating black music because he likes funk music.
All because he does it better than any black artist out there, and they're fucking jealous of the talent of the fucking kid.
I'm not a huge fan, but I'll never disrespect him. When he did his halftime show, holy shit, that was amazing.
That kid is fucking good. And and that's my thing. Fuck cultural appropriation. Fuck the people that cry about cultural appropriation. Like, literally, fuck off. Like, I'll buy you a boat ticket to some fucking desert island where you guys can just cry and fucking rub each other's shoulders and shit.
That's how it kind of feels. I'm done. That's kind of how it feels like a lot of the times. Is it's like, go somewhere and hide yourself from society, because this is not how you are not representing my kind of Asian. You're not representing my fucking generation either. These are not the kinds of people I want saying, I'm a millennial. You know what, millennial? Fuck you. That's not who I am. I'm not some sort of fucking super conservative alt-right person either. I just happen to have a brain.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, and that's, to me, what a lot of it comes down to as well, is we do have to start looking at the fact that most of these statements are being made from people that are on political extremes. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Or just looking to be offended for whatever reason.
You're part of the reason why Trump is the president of the United States.
But you know what? It's not like she was a stripper wearing the dress, going out with a name like Sukiyaki Tenderoni. You know what I mean? She is a girl who wore the dress and wanted to be beautiful at prom. Come on. She wasn't doing anything offensive.
Even that, like, just shut the fuck up. Like, just shut the fuck up. Are you a person of color? Have you ever dressed, like, with pants and a shirt? Then you're appropriating white people because y'all are from Africa and you guys had shorts. Like, suck my fucking dick. Hey, do you guys like your Michael Jordan fucking shoes? Yeah, invented by white people. You're appropriating.
Next time I see a black woman, I should say you need to get your tits out because in your country you don't wear shirts.
Do these people of color believe in democracy? Well, you're appropriating Greek culture, which is white culture.
I love it. No, but it's funny that you say that, because I think a lot of people, when you're not informed, when you're not educated, and informed and educated does not mean reading a book. It's really knowing the core of what history is.
Can I just say quickly before we end, because this is a funny story. I did a BuzzFeed quiz, as I do.
Of course.
And it was, what woman through history are you? And so I'm looking at the comments, and I saw a very outraged lady saying, why is Cleopatra portrayed as white in that picture? And I had to school her. I'm like, she was a Ptolemy, and the Ptolemies were Greek. She was white.
Yeah.
Sorry. All the other African or the pharaohs? Who knows? I think they've been proven to be from Syria, but I'm not getting into that.
This shit. I mean, you want to get me mad? Like, this is a fucking subject that'll get me mad. I'm so tired of this shit. Like, I'm so tired of it. Why would the fucking Greeks and Romans and the Egyptians predict themselves as white if they weren't? Like, why would they predict, like, why would they draw pictures of themselves?
Cleopatra's, I won't say modern times, but like the bust and the images of Cleopatra, we have to assume are very close to how she looked, because there were contemporaries of her making artwork. This is not like some.
But it's an assumption too, though. Like, there's things we can debate about how some parts of history may have been whitewashed, as we always.
Oh,
of course.
All of us kind of agree.
Of course.
But it's like we have to face the facts. A lot of white people took over, and
they did.
It's real fucking simple. Yeah. Civilization started in Iraq and Mesopotamia. You can't argue that fact. Suck my dick. It's the truth.
Exactly.
Flat out. Now, through there, it moved north because they knew in the south, and unfortunately for any African that's listening, they were fucking savages that were just at war all the fucking time, and they had no fucking use for them. Literally zero use. So all the knowledge went fucking north. And then it wasn't until, they had pretty much unlimited power over Europe and Asia that they finally went back down south in Africa, and they did. I'll never say that Europeans didn't fuck that continent hard. They did. They fucked that continent hard.
I think we all agree on that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it bothers me when this revisionist history fucking nonsense is making the rounds. Like,
you can't rewrite history. History's done. It's over with. Just like everything we said in the last hour is done and over with.
And even that, you get a lot of people with the sentiment that, like, as we said, history has been whitewashed. But history wasn't whitewashed. What happened was history is written by the victors. Unfortunately, white people were very, very good at kicking ass. Like, unfortunately, the Europeans were really good at fucking kicking ass.
We have to accept that. We have to accept that. But it doesn't mean that you can't, you should be able to tell your story. Of course, tell your struggle. But what you don't get to do is attack another human being for wanting to say, this is a beautiful piece of garment, or this is a beautiful piece of, I don't know, hair, or whatever the case is.
Why isn't he attacking the person who sold the dress? Maybe a person from China sold that dress to the secondhand shop.
Amazon.
Why wasn't she keeping a good care of that dress? Come on.
Fuck it, whatever.
Yeah. We never even got to my feel-good story of the day, but I'll just say this. If I was driving a truck filled with potato chips and I went missing for 4 days, there wouldn't be any potato chips left. This guy didn't eat one single package of chips, okay?
Right.
4 days, this guy walked for 4 days in snow in the mountains.
And in his father's pajamas?
Fucking chip. Not even one chip. Come on, this guy is a hero to the trucking industry.
Yeah, fair
Into
enough.
the chip.
I'm telling you, there wouldn't be any chips left, and I wouldn't even have walked. I would have sat in my truck and ate chips. So.
Until someone finds me.
So that's the end of this show. We'll be back next Monday. Have a great day. Happy birthday to Ryan, who's turning 49.
Excuse me, 18.
49. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care.